Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Instructions for Humanity, Sphere of Consciousness. Go ahead and shout out your city, your country, your providence, your vibe, your tribe. How you doing? Let's get some energy in the comment section. I know I'm here a bit later. Normally, I would be on here a little bit earlier, but there was a lot kind of happening today. So, you guys will watch this probably when you wake up, or if you want to come on in now. Hopefully you're getting the notifications. We're going to talk about the correspondence dinner and about how we remote viewed that. I remote viewed that there was about 14 of us who remote viewed the correspondence dinner. And I am here to tell you that it is a lot bigger than what a lot of people are thinking that it is. Please, in the comment section, let me know if you can hear me okay. Welcome in, Sister Gail. Welcome in, Sister Star Round 7. I missed you. Haven't seen you in a while. Let me know if you can hear me okay. And then we will go ahead and continue. Welcome in, everyone. When you come on in, like the video, and please do subscribe to the channel. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Can you hear me okay? Please put in the comment section if you can hear me okay. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tahira, Mother of the Ages. I am a supernatural quantum telepathic healer. I am the author of The Great Expansion, a cosmic Bible for the ages. And I am... my guides are saying spirit communicator. Okay, spirit communicator. Okay, come through, guides. And I am the creator of the quantum telepathic healing modalities. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. And I just want to say that if any of you guys are interested in booking a session with me, there will be some links down below. You can book your quantum telepathic reading with energy medicine. This is where we work on soul integration, body scan, rebalancing the chakras, channel messages, galactic messages, going into different templates, Reiki and energy medicine, entity removal, and so much more. And I am also a clinical hypnotherapist by trade. I specialize in past life regression therapy, one of the deepest, most cleansing, most healing sessions. There's a discount link down below, and you can take advantage of that. And this is going to lead you to the past life that's going to answer the question and why you're going through the same sort of karmic secular patterns in this lifetime as well. So you can check that out. There are some links down below. Let go, let go, let go. Welcome in from North Carolina. Vibrating high today. Nisi, that's it. Blessing. Yes. I was about to say hallelujah, blessing. I don't know because of your name. Bliss sing. Sorry, I was about to say hallelujah. Let's get some energy in here. Okay, let's go ahead and ground into this. Austin, yes, you're coming through. I know I'm on here a little bit later. Austin, if I miss anything, please be prepared to put it down in the comments as well. Let's go ahead and talk about the 14 remote viewers that went ahead and remote viewed the White House Correspondence Dinner and everything that we saw. So where did I get the 14 remote viewers for? Today was the last day of our class. We did the 6 weeks quantum telepathic healing and psychic development class. I want to say, like, right now, I'm just giving a round of applause to everyone that participated and everyone that will receive their certification. You guys, I knew you could do it. I called it in the beginning when you guys were, some of you are apprehensive. Can I really do this? Can I really see? Can I really pick up on messages? Can I really heal? Yes, you guys are all healers. You guys are all psychic. You guys are doing it. And today you guys came through and showed up. We not only remote viewed, I mean, baby, we remote viewed this thing down to the socks. We not only did that, but we did a healing and a clearing for the collective, because I am here to tell you that what we saw was very shocking. You're going to need to hold on to your seats. In fact, I can't squeeze it all into this video, but we're going to start, and I'm sure I'll come on here next week and we will do a part 2. So the first thing that I do want to say is that we did go ahead and create a sacred space. So we were, some of us were probably in, in theta, in Delta. We're just really, really relaxed. We were grounded. We were centered. And a few of us took different viewpoints. Some people took the viewpoint of, looking at it from above. Some people were looking at it from like underneath the situation. Some people were like, like a fly on the wall. And so we were looking at this thing from all different sort of angles. We also used a lot of different templates to kind of view the information. There were some people that were in a galactic template. Some of us were in a collective template. Some of us were in, I don't know, other templates, religious template. And we really were able to get a very cohesive message, but from all different sort of angles. Okay. So I will not like BS through this. I will just tell you very simply put, the thing is staged. That was the general consensus. If what we all got is that it was staged. Okay. I want to show you guys this picture here. Let me see if I can bring it up in a way where you can see us both. I want to show you guys this picture of this guy, right? So, first thing that we saw, let's pay attention to this guy that they said did the actual shooting, right? One thing you have to know about this guy is that he was hired, and he was hired by the right, by the Republicans, right? By this current administration. And he was hired to make Trump look good. And we're going to get to that, right? But I want to stay on him. Source almost calls him a victim of circumstance, and a victim of time. One thing that was coming through very clearly with this guy is that he had some debts to pay off. Now, whether this is physical debts or karmic debts, and I think it's a little bit of both things. Also, too, I think he gained access to some information that maybe he was not to gain access to. And I'm talking about, Masonic information that he shouldn't have been privy to. And I think that I was getting a very framed blackmail energy as well. And as I explain this to you, I'm going to explain what we got as a collective. Later on, I will go through what individual channel, what remote viewed what. But he was definitely framed. He was acting almost as an indentured servant. He was an indentured servant, and he had to pay off a debt. And so therefore he was hired by the right, by the Republicans, to go ahead and be the face of this event. So on one end, he was there to actually do the event. But on the other end, he had to be. He was forced to be. He saw something that maybe he shouldn't have saw, or he got involved in some things that he shouldn't have got involved in. It feels very like the underbelly, right? And because he's a teacher, so it's like bright and sunny, during the day, a little bit seedy at night. He was involved in some deep level research, and it had led him to be a part of something that I don't think he completely understood what it all would entail. So nevertheless, he became an indentured servant to the establishment. So that is what the first thing that I want to say. The second thing I want to say is that he was hired. It was staged to make Trump look good. Going back to the first time that Trump's right ear was shot, it was very much a psyop, setting up the energy of hear no evil. And then with the Charlie Kirk situation, cutting off the atlas, it was speak no evil. And then the see no evil, we're still, the verdict is still out on that. We still have to have an event for see no evil. But they remembered that time that he looked like the victor, like the hero, that he was going to stand up and fight for our country and countrymen. And so they knew that the polls were against him. So they thought they would shift the narrative and make him look like a strong leader once again. It did not work because the scales, okay, so now we know who the see no evil is. It is humanity as a collective soul body. because it did not work. The scales, their reptilian scales, have been removed from our eyes. And so now we can see. And we're going to get to that as we started to heal the collective template. This was definitely done to keep humanity lowered in frequency in their lower chakras. But nevertheless, the see no evil is us. They don't want us to see the evil that they are doing. So they wanted him to look like the protector again. And it's very interesting because a few days ago, Trump posted an AI sort of image of him like Christ, like the savior of humanity. I think he later took it down because it ruffled some feathers, even part of the people on the right. It ruffled their feathers as well. And so he took it down. But then a few days after, he was the Grim Reaper, that AI video that we showed yesterday on the channel, him being the Grim Reaper. So it's very much in this dualistic energy, because when you align with duality, this is how you can actually move your energy on the board throughout the simulation and the matrix, right? And so I just wanted to say that, but it didn't work because we were not buying it. Something came up with Vance, something came up with Melania, something came up with, Erika Kirk, something came up with the other members of his cabinet that were also there. So the first thing you guys have to know is that this was completely staged. I was getting men in black, and a lot of people knew, half of the room knew that this was in fact going to happen. The other half in the room was kept in the dark simply just to make it look real. Trump was never in any danger, which is kind of what the whole group got. These were absolutely blanks that were shot. I don't know how far I don't know if the shooter made it into the actual hall where the dinner was, but what was shot were blanks. They were not real. And if you look at the position he's taken on the ground, one of the remote viewers made a point that the cameraman had to get very low to the ground to take that angle. And this is the positioning that they want humanity to be in. And because, a few of us also got, he's black but white as well. And so kind of the general consensus is it doesn't matter what your race is. If you mess with us, you will be taken down to the ground. And I'm getting held in contempt. This was very much a call to show the next plan, because they have to tell us what's going to happen. A lot of the remote viewers were getting surveillance. We're getting that this was done for surveillance. Possibly the White House will use this event to say that, hey, we may not even be safe within our gilded walls. We need to bring in surveillance, AI surveillance, within our own White House. And we need to make sure all American citizens are surveyed in the same manner to protect them. So this is setting up for the next stage of their plan, which is to micromanage our lives through surveillance. Okay. I was also picking up on an energy that they're using. I want to save this. Let me just get it out there so I don't forget that they're using energy weapons against us. Okay. And these energy weapons are, they correlate with silent frequencies that you can't hear, but the dogs can hear it. It's very interesting because one of the girls who was remote viewing, her dogs were going off in the background. And I started to channel that at that time, that they are using secret energy weapons. And part of these satellites or AI surveillance that's supposed to make us safer are actually going to be emitting these frequencies. So it's a frequency weapon, like an energy Men in Black sort of zappy sort of thing, but the dogs can feel it. But the humans, we can't perceive that frequency. So their surveillance will be not only to get closer to you before they get inside with all of the wearable devices and neural links and passport ID and all of that, That's the final stage to get inside. Right now, they just want to get one step closer. And then they're going to start zapping us with these energy weapons that, animals and dogs can hear and nature can hear. So in the class yesterday, people were wondering, and someone here mentioned it, of why the birds were going crazy and all of that, because they can sense the energy weapons that are emitting this very, very harmful frequency. And it's to keep us in our lower chakras. So he was representing, keeping humanity afraid as an indentured servant, because every single person that has to slave away on the corporate plantation, you are an indentured servant. On one way, you do get paid, but you're not really paid well, and you're living kind of paycheck to paycheck. You're in a lowly position, which is why this angles down to very low. And it's truly to keep humanity disconnected, as we learned with Charlie Kirk, from the Atlas, and keep humanity in the lower two chakras. We got very heavy telepathic imprints through this time. A lot of the remote viewers were feeling sick to their stomach. We're going to get into the other energies, the Greys and Reptilians that kind of came in to kind of watch. This is a lot bigger. We're going to get to Erika Kirk as well. But nevertheless, the right side of a lot of our bodies were reacting. The right side of my body was receiving telepathic imprints, just confirming that, yes, it is the right, but also too, the right shoulder, the right arm. This is very interesting because usually when I'm channeling like negative energies, everything is showing up on the left, a little bit more dense. This time it was showing up on the right. This is supposed to be the angelic side. This is supposed to be the light side, the spirit side. It's showing up on the right. It takes me right back to the savior depiction of what Trump put out on his social media, him as Christ. So what we're looking at is the refinement of even the light. Humanity as a collective soul body. This is what we're doing, but they have to reflect to us what we are doing, because we are the ones that are using our energy to power their whole simulation and matrix. So what it's saying is, not even the light or the right can we trust. So in this season, question everything. Spirit guides, source, God, every single thing. If it is true, it will remain true. But God doesn't want you to be ignorant, because there's a lot of tricky stuff happening in this 11th hour. Okay. I was getting Last Supper. One of the girls were really angry. She said, I was angry. I feel tricked because there's no food. We're at a correspondence dinner, but where is the food? And I saw very little food as well. So I don't know what kind of dinner this was, if it happened in the beginning before they served the plates or the main dishes, but I mean, it really felt like it was staged, so much so that they didn't even waste time rolling out a whole spread. I mean, if the food was there, it was very sparse. That was not a main focus. We really didn't see much food. I also saw gaffer's tape marked on the ground with an X. So in film and television, we use this so that the actors know where to stand to hit their mark. It was very staged. Half of the room knew what was happening, and there was gaffer's tape on the floor so that they could hit their mark. Okay, we're going to get into Vance shapeshifting and all of the rest of the craziness that happened. And I was getting Studio 54 energy as well. And I saw some keys on the left side of the belt and I'm calling him a victim. This guy is a victim, and we're going to get into how he's a victim, because he may not be all the way real, as some of the remote viewers pointed out. He has some keys on his belt, meaning he had the key inside. It was an inside job as well. And they also had some sort of signal. One of the remote viewers said there was a signal of like some flowers being carried around the room. And this is kind of like letting you know, hey, it's go time, show time, right? There was indications along the way to warn Trump and the other people that were involved. Trump is in this trepidation energy. Trump is in a trepidation energy, and he's trying to get away from the files, and he's trying to get the good graces back of the people. What we see him in the public, how he said, "Oh my God, I'm so great. The economy's doing so great. We're winning the war. We're winning and winning, and we're winning the war." He doesn't believe it. He just has to keep regurgitating those same talking points so that you think that something's wrong with you and how you are perceiving the economy in which we live in. But he's in total trepidation. He is fearful of his life, fearful of when we're all going to find out, when we're all going to collectively see and speak up about what is happening. He's completely fearful, guys. And now let's go ahead and get into one of the remote viewers was receiving a lot of telepathic, not only just imprints, but also we were receiving a lot of flashes of light as well. We were getting a lot of blue light, and they're going to try to pin this eventually and spin it on the Democrats. But every time the blue light would come, the red light would show back up. Like, no, this is in fact done and colluded and an inside job by the right, by the Republicans. So no matter how they try to spin it on the Democrats, it is done by the right. And also too, he's also from California. He looked very liberal. You know what I mean? So they picked a person, and Source keeps calling him a victim. Every time I want to say him or the person who shot, Source keeps saying he's a victim. And he looks very liberal. He looks very, like the quintessential Democratic. So they purposefully made him look like that, picked him for this reason. Okay, this is all a distraction as well. And I love how some person spoke directly to, I think that was Austin, that spoke directly to the correspondence dinner as a whole. And the correspondence dinner, responded that, hey, this is all set up for later. This was, not real. I mean, it said a bunch of, other things. And I'm just kind of paraphrasing. So now one of the things that were very interesting, let's go to Erika Kirk. Then we'll get to the Vance, the Reptilian, the shape-shifting energy, and then the ancestors that have been hidden from us. It gets deep. So Erika Kirk was there. One of the remote viewers saw her there dressed in all white, and she took the time to cry and to essentially make herself look more human. I don't know why she was there. I'm like, what is she doing there? Because after all, I mean, she is a YouTuber's widow, so to speak, but she was there. She was in all white. She had the crocodile tears. It was very much a moment for her to show, how empathetic she was, how human she could in fact be. So she was absolutely there. And then it was interesting. This is when everything got a little interesting. Someone saw Caroline Levitt, Kash Patel, and a few other people there, and they're also part of it. They were all put in place. They were all scripted, and they were all very much part of the distraction as well. So remember, I kept saying, I don't know why these people show up to the White House, because everything I feel is ran by an algorithm and AI. All of these people are in on it. Yes, in one way. Are they really part of the cabinet? Yeah. But they're part of the larger distraction, and it's all scripted. And I think someone even said that Caroline Levitt made I hope that's her last name, the press secretary, the one that's pregnant right now, that she made a statement before the dinner that there will be a shooting. I'm paraphrasing, but she even made a statement about there would be a shooting. So they're just telling us, and we now, because the scales are off our eyes, we are, we're understanding we're picking up what they're throwing down. So Bliss Singh, so Kash Patel, Yes. Okay. So Cash Patel had his eyes on both sides of the room. Thank you. Yep. So Cash Patel had his eyes on both sides of the room. Correspondence dinner? Okay. Correspondence dinner. Okay. Oh, law of correspondence. Thank you. I'm going to get into that. Thank you so much. We're going to get back to the law of correspondence in a moment, but let me continue, and then we're going to start to put the source codes together here. All right, give me just a moment. Give me just a moment. Okay, let me continue really quickly. We don't want to get off of the channel. So one of the things that was interesting is that one of the remote viewers, when the shots rang out, the blanks were fired. Vance was rushed out first. Trump was an afterthought. Trump was an afterthought. Vance was rushed out first. A few of the people saw Vance. Half of his face was totally grayed out, and his eyeliner was very pronounced. Let's hold that right there. But just know that Vance was ushered out first. Trump was an afterthought. We can be maybe alluding to the fact that Vance may be the person who's actually running the country, because even though we know that Trump is not present within this body, that it is in fact ball, and they were in the ballroom, the ballroom, the ballroom as well. Half of his face was grayed out simply because there was an energy. Now we moved into the collective template. Some of the remote viewers were feeling, one of them felt really sick, just very sick, like nauseated. There was a lot of other energies that were present. Vance appeared to have some grayed out energy, like a gray, and the grays are known for surveillance. So he was, in fact, kind of shape-shifting. Also, too, this guy also had gray energy, where one of the remote viewers saw that he was shut down from his solar plexus all the way to the crown chakra. He's a total, the guy in Game of Thrones, Theon, how they told that guy who took Theon as a slave and like did so much like harsh stuff to him, where he was a shell of himself. That's who this guy is. So I don't know how he was teaching, because this man was completely shut down from solar plexus all the way to crown, and he was only in the lower chakras. This was to symbolize what they want for humanity, to keep us in a fear-based consciousness, very root chakra, food, shelter, clothing, basic necessities, so that you don't have time to, wonder about what they're doing. You don't have no time for your awakening. You have no time for your ascension. And so he was representing that. So even within that, so he was a shell of himself. So what do you think was embodying the rest of him? I think that he was also riddled with I'm getting a matriarchal entity that they put there inside of him. Now, this part I'm getting right now. They put a matriarchal energy. I think someone else called another being that was there that was feminine. Someone put a matriarchal energy inside of him to keep watch. This was all about surveillance. And whether if you're black or white, and you're going to be brought down, humiliated, you're going to be put in handcuffs. You're going to be lowly to the ground. This is what we're going to do to you. And we will bring a surveillance state. Okay. So going back to JD Vance, it was very eerie. He was shape shifting. He was holding vibration of the great energy that has its hands on this whole template. Now we have to expand into the larger thing that a lot of us were picking up on some telepathic imprints. So there are some of us in the group that, hold interdimensional codes, and we pick up on telepathic imprints from interdimensional extraterrestrial beings. And it's a very large energy. So oftentimes, your technology might mess up, or you might feel sick, especially if it's like a reptilian or something around, you might start to feel sick. Well, this is in fact what we saw. There's a larger thing happening. There was a reptilian presence. The gray was working in conjunction with the reptilian, but the gray had a specific task to bring surveillance. So this was a test to test out this surveillance state. There might be more policing on its way. There could be an uptick in needing more police presence. And I think that ICE will emerge more heavy as this surveillance state sort of starts to form. And this is another reason I don't think it was just about the immigrants for ICE. I think it's about what is to come. And they're going to need a lot more people, not just the police. They're going to need their other pawns in place, because when we zoned out and we started to understand that the grays are here, they are setting things up, they're working through these individuals. We saw Reptilian when we started the healing portion, and some of the telepathic imprints were from the Reptilian. And this is the real thing of what is going on. Okay. And the other thing that I want to say, and I'm looking here. Oh, thank you, Susanna. What else do I want to say here? Now we'll get into the healing portion. There needs to be a part 2, because I simply can't put all of this and remember all of this, right? So when we went into the healing portion, we knew we were dealing with a reptilian. And the very thing is, one of the girls were kind of like took a bird's eye view from like the roof. She saw spaceship. She saw spaceship outside. And so when is there a spaceship at a White House dinner, or, whatever it was? It wasn't even really any food there. When I tell you guys that this holy war, this is kind of what we saw. It's a preparation for what is yet to come. There could have been different beings there as well. Maybe some of these people that we see that just look human are not. But in fact, they're not even trying to hide the fact that there was a spaceship there. Okay. So now, fast forwarding, when we went into the healing part of the session, I was doing light language. There was a lot of activity happening. Everyone took a chakra and everyone had an assignment. And so I'm going to have to review the tape. It's a long tape, 4 hours long, but I'll give you the general gist of what we saw. What are they hiding? Well, I saw at the base, they had the collective. We looked at the template. It's like the collective were all in a pod, all together here on Earth. The whole collective was in a pod. And there was a cord, like an umbilical cord, from the collective soul body to some sort of celestial being, or celestial body, rather, in a different part of the cosmos. So we are tethered, connected to something. And it almost feels like we're in a cocoon, right? This is why we feel so trapped here. We're in a cocoon, and they have a cord connecting the collective soul body to some place off planet. It feels like a celestial body, and I don't know if it's like a massive ship that we're being anchored into. We'll have to take a look deeper into that. That's the first thing you have to know. But now when we go back and we look at it just from like our body, this cord is located at the base of the spine so that you never get to utilize your Kundalini energy. And I think I may have mentioned this the other day, but rather they have something there to siphon that so that it limits your ability to, to speak, to see, to hear. The whole point is to keep humanity out of their upper chakras, and not just the upper chakras, but also being able to speak what it is that we see, to speak what it is that we hear as well, and to speak what's on our heart. And in fact, as the healing went on, we were able to see the more we stood in the solar plexus energy, we stood in the Christ vibration, the more we took up space and we didn't cower. We saw these beings, the reptilian, there were other beings, massive beings, possibly some of the gods that they are revamping and bringing back to life. They could not touch us. When we started to ground into the energies and take up space, they could not touch us. They couldn't do it. All they could do is sit and watch, because we also created a protective layer of bubble around us. So there was nothing they could do but watch their whole system being cleansed by 14 remote viewers and quantum healers. And that was quite cool to see. Hold on, we're going to get back to it. Guys, I'm making some collard greens, some vegan collard greens right now. So I got to make sure that everything's on the up and up. I have someone watching it for me. And I made some stuffed mushrooms with, I'll get into that. But I want to make sure. 1 second, guys. Okay, perfect. So you want some, Austin? Oh yeah, I'm making some vegan mac and cheese, but I'm using hearts of palm noodles. So it's not really noodles; it's hearts of palm, and then the cheese sauce is made from nuts, various different nuts. So it's all clean, right? Soul food that I'll be making. So going back to the healing part, we saw these large, massive beings standing on either side, and we just saw their heads. They could not touch us. We had created a healing bubble, a healing vibration. All they could do is watch their template being taken down and reconfigured. Also, too, as the light language and the healing went on, I saw that there was something that we activated within the DNA template. I found something that was not listed in our Akashic records. And what this looks like is a collective template that they have been hiding from humanity. And what this truly means is how have they been able to keep it out of the Akashic records, is because they took it out and they mutated our 12-strand DNA. And through the healing part of this, we got that back. That came back online. And I'm going to explain to you what it was. So as the light language was progressing, I was transcribing what was happening within the light language. And all of a sudden, I saw the bones of the ancestors. And when I talk about ancestors, I'm talking about, I don't care what color you are. It was a single ancestor that were here before humanity was in these bodies. What I saw was, I'm calling them First Nation people, or first Earthlings, the first version of Earthlings. We all come from them. And the code of those ancestors are within us and buried deep within what they call the junk DNA. What these ancestors felt like is a very primordial energy. It feels a lot like your dragon energy, coming online because it's a big energy to hold. Were they still formed with 2 arms and 2 legs? Yes, but the energy that these ancestors possess felt like superior energy, and I had knowledge that this is where we get the Christ from. If you look at the conscious mind, if you kind of view that as the forehead, and the subconscious, you view it as the back of the head. Well, that makes this line here of the cross. If you take the right brain and left brain, that makes this line of the cross. These ancestors were not fragmented or split. They were neither in right brain or left brain, in conscious and unconscious or subconscious. It was all one. This is how these ancestors, the reason why they hid it and they kept it out of the Akashic records, they never wanted us to even see it, hear it, or speak of it. But it came through in the light language today that this is where they got the initial idea for the cross. The cross or the Christ is the coordinates to your 12-strand DNA. And not only the coordinates to that, it brings us to a hidden collective template. And when we looked in there, the ancestors were still suffering. And they thought that no one would ever figure it out and to find where they were being held. They were being held in contempt because of how powerful they were. This is what I'm pulling right now. So they were almost being withheld from using their own power, just being guilty for existing the way that they naturally showed up. This is how we became fragmented, and why we became fragmented is because we had all of the answers, because we were not divided. So the Christ Christos consciousness that is returning is when you do your brain and heart coherence and you bring the 2 hemispheres back together. That is a lie. You complete one part of the cross when you do that. When you tap into subconscious, when you blend the conscious and the subconscious, when you enter these altered states to get more soul residue or more records, that is the other line of the cross. And then it meets at a point in the heart. So your heart has to be in good standing because it fuses it all together. Once that heart is fused together, guess what? You get access back to the original formula when the spirit came from the crown and the soul came up from the soles of the feet, it met at a point in the heart. We're getting access back to our original spark. And that is why they're trying to stop us right now. And they want us, like this victim, they want us down on the ground, no matter what color and what race you are. This is where you're going to be if you mess with us, because we are here to surveillance you. And in fact, we are going to bring an army of surveillance. It won't just be the ICE and the regular police and the AI, this and that. It will be these other beings that are watching and the ones that they are resurrecting within their lap. This was the last supper for this guy here. Look at the way Trump is looking. This avatar is on its way out. Vance has been crowned. Vance is a shapeshifter. Vance is holding the energy of the gray and reptilian and also human. Vance is a hybrid. I believe that what we're seeing with Vance is what I was talking about with Charlie Kirk, of how it's the alien technology, a hybrid and a human all combined, and technology. Vance is that. Vance was protected first because he is the new prototype. Trump's avatar, it's on its way out. And in fact, I saw an image of Melania. She was facing herself, and this was a side conversation off to the side. She was in mourning. She was wearing a black dress. And Melania has energy of Mary Poppins energy, like she does magic. So she's preparing. She is mirroring herself. She's practicing for when this happens. I don't think I was supposed to see that. I think I was looking into the psyche of her, of what is happening with her. on an internal level. So this avatar is on its way out. Vance is the avatar. This is why Charlie Kirk had to get gone. Vance took responsibility for that in one of the earlier automatic drawings that we did last year. They needed his energy. Vance didn't have that vigor. They took that, they built all of that up within Charlie Kirk. And then when everything was heightened and Erika Kirk was all in place, then they took him to the slaughterhouse. And they took him to the slaughterhouse during Passover, during the New Year, the first fake New Year. And so every time they need a little bit more energy, they go back and then they do another ritual and they take more and more. So this is in fact what is happening. The moral to the story is this. We bridge the gap between the upper and the lower chakras. It was all red energy, all base consciousness energy. That's where they want us. So when you murmur and you complain, you go into the grocery stores. Yes, we all see the price. It's crazy, right? All of these things, it's crazy. But guess what? This is your time to neutralize it. Because if they get you in your feels, then you are telepathically imprinting their fear onto your internal waters. This is what they are hoping for. So you just stay in neutrality and you live your life and you expand. What we notice is the more we held the vibration all together collectively, the more we cleared. Once we gained access and we really stood within the Christ light, within the solar plexus, the confidence that we had, all these other beings, all they could do is watch. They could not touch us. They can't touch you, but they can lie to you and make you perceive that you are insignificant. But they are the ones that are insignificant. They're not even real. They're using our energy to power everything in this fake psyop simulation. And there is a lot more things that I have not mentioned. And we'll have to do a part 2 because it was a lot going on. So I want to get into the comments really quickly. I know there's a few of you guys that were in the comments really quickly. I want to go back to the correspondence dinner being the law of correspondence. So thank you, Bliss Singh. So the law of correspondence, your outer world is a direct reflection of your inner world. So once we went inside and we started to heal this, then we saw that we were changing their template. That's what they want. They want to muddy up your internal world, your internal waters. That's why they're doing all of the external things. So if you take it and you internalize it and you imprint it on yourself within your bodies of consciousness and in your eternal waters, then they can get their outer world, which is not real. The only world that is real is the one that you create inside. They can get their fake, false, psyoped outer world into you. Then now you will reflect their code. They need you to do it. They cannot do it on their own. They want to manipulate you to imprint into your body. And so now you internalize it, and then now you broadcast the signal because you are the medium. This video is one for the ages. You are the medium. Remember that. You have all of the power. So much so, they have humanity almost in a cocoon with an umbilical cord off planet to being anchored into some celestial body. This is how important you are. They can't even keep themselves above water, above the firmament. They can't even fly because we know there's no such thing as gravity. That's a mutation as well of the feminine energy. Once we come back online, there's feminine energy coming up too. Once the true feminine is released from bondage, because that's what they're using to hold everything down into the fake, false psyop simulation, is they are using the divine spark of the feminine, the divine spark of Sophia. That's what they're using. They mutated that They put chastity belts on it. We learned about that. We spoke about that. Shackles. And that's why the divine feminine is and started off very heavily scrutinized and controlled, is because they needed that. That is what gravity is. The moment the divine feminine takes her divine throne again, there will be no gravity. There will be no matrix. There will be none of this stuff. They cannot hold the form of it if the feminine is back online. But she has to be put back on the throne, and the gender roles have to be switched. It will be a process. And so no, these women are not manly. They're just getting back in position after being a dormant energy for so long. So going back to the ancestors really quickly that we saw, the ancestors, we rescued them. We found them. We found a hidden template, a hidden collective template that they hid and they kept out of the Akashic records. And it was like we were rescuing them. And we were getting a lot of emotions coming out. There was a lot of tears coming out. They were being held hostage. They were fragmented very early on. So when the split of the 12-strand DNA were fragmented, these First Nation humans, and they weren't human. They were just supernatural beings that existed within this realm. Back then, like I said, we had the access to go from this world to the next. We could speak to the other worlds. Everything was very telepathic and we all worked in unison. But then they saw that and they had to divide that because we were so superior. They couldn't run their schemes and be in control. And so they colluded with a snake in the garden, fragmenting the mind, fragmenting and splitting the DNA. And we have been running the false code ever since. Humanity is a shell of what it was always supposed to be, simply because the right and left brain have been severed and fragmented, and the conscious and the subconscious have been severed and fragmented. We are in the process of fusing all of that back together. So please, when you guys are on your healing and your ascension journey, don't think you're going to do it in one session. Come on now, please. And I have to say this, and I say this very respectfully of Mother of the Ages. What we are doing is rewriting code. You think that you're only healing yourself? If you're alive right now, you are one with the collective. You are healing whole soul templates that have been held in contempt, that have been kept out of anyone knowing. We are healing whole timelines. That is what you're doing with your body. Be patient with yourself. You're not going to do it in one session, 2 session, 3 session. I've been on my journey for 20 years and plus, and I'm still going. It's a forever calling. It's a forever journey. Yes, now we have the tools to speed it up. But please don't think you're going to do this in 1.5 days and call it a day and then go back to living the way you were living. That won't work. You're either all in or you're part of the waste. You're part of the shaft that will be removed by the Grim Reaper energy. Please be patient with yourself. Please take your post. Please come into agreement that you will rise no matter how long it takes. And please understand that this is a journey. And the journey is supposed to be experienced. We are here to experience. And this is the word from the ancestors that were locked away, kept out of the templates that we freed today. Therefore, we are getting access to our primordial source. These ancestors were part of the original spark. They're as close to the spark as we get down here within our own DNA. This is the healing that we did. I'm so grateful to everyone that participated in the Quantum Telepathic Healing and Psychic Development course. You guys, today was not a day that you were learning. No, you were and are quantum telepathic healers. Every single person. I am in awe of you. I am in awe of you. And I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you very much. And I'm sure that we will go ahead and talk about a part 2 because there's just so much to go over. And I'm so sorry. I'm going to roll through the comments really quickly, but I cannot get to everything. Okay, we had Kash Patel there. He knew what was happening. Yes, it was all faked and staged. Austin says, Caroline said shots will be fired in the building when talking about Trump's speech. They yanked out Vance. Maybe Trump is eliminating Vance. Yeah, he was yanked out first. So we could look at that like that. But he was very much shapeshifted. He was very much the hybrid, energy that we saw. Trump kept looking at the man's paper and smiling duper delight after the first shots. Okay, this is all the remote viewing we were doing. So he knew that what was happening. The lower chakras equals the controlled bot. Yes, that's what they want us. They want us controlled. They want to keep you out of hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, kick you out of your own garden here. That's why they want to get inside. Yes. There were jokes regarding mixed race men with white moms taking L's this weekend. Cole Alien, this guy, and Clay Thompson. Oh, yes. Very interesting. So there's a whole scandal. I know I saw it on my feed with Clay Thompson, how he had he was written in his journal how he was cheating, and I think he cheated on Megan Thee Stallion, but how he was just sleeping with everyone. It was just weird. It was very high school-esque, like kiss and tell. He was writing in his journal. It was very weird. Thank you for mentioning that, because I also said, this is weird. Why are they even coming out with this? I knew it was something. So this is just this is pulling the collective energy, the black, the white, it's all pulling it in together within this template. They needed all of us invested in this energetic heist that is happening. I thought that was so weird. I was like, who does that? I thought it was so weird. Yep, and there was a baby that we channeled there. There was a baby there too, and I think they were getting energy from her as well. And Melania, we channeled a few of the remote viewers that she didn't know about it, but also too, like I said, Melania is there to slowly take down this avatar. She's also doing witchcraft on this avatar of Trump. And I say avatar because I don't believe that Trump is actually there anymore. And and then someone said, I was dreaming about Africa before I woke up. Okay. Vance's funder and technocrat dude, Peter. Okay, you guys are talking. Okay. Thank you guys so very much. The point is to make you feel insignificant. If the first wound of the psyche, then evolution theory, second wound. So we forget our own divinity. Yes. The third wound is the subconscious mind. And then Gail says, I had a strange frequency in my right ear before I went to bed last night. Continued this morning. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And that's the video, guys. I'm so grateful for everyone who participated. I'm sure I'll do a part 2 because there's just so much to go over. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. If you'd like to book a session with me, there will be some links down below. And thank you very much. I love you. I love you. I love you. And so it is as we walk together in divine love. Be well.